Okay, I want to take a couple minutes to tell you how I got started as a muralist. This is a common question that I get. And so I'm going to give you the short version because we're talking 8 or 9 years of history here, and there's a lot to talk about. But I think that my key points are that I started as a painter. My dad was a paint contractor, and he showed me the ropes. And then after a few years working with him, I started working for a bigger company, CertaPro Painters. There's a guy in Flagstaff, Jay Bowers, and he was real good to me. And I learned a lot of basic painting skills, brush handling, learning how all the different tools work. So start with brushing, rolling, then spraying, and then how the bigger equipment works. And I got to the point where I was able to accomplish on my own any kind of paint contracting. And later on, when I became self-employed and made that decision, I got a paint contracting license, which I recommend for anybody that wants to be a muralist is to become a licensed contractor. You don't have to do that. You'll be all right without it, but the confidence that it provides you as someone coming onto a job and giving bids, and if your mural job includes painting a lot of solid colors on walls and other contractors are going to see it as contracting, it gives you a lot of confidence to not worry about anyone looking over your shoulder and being jealous of you taking their work away, because other contractors pay money for their license too, and they don't want non-licensed bidders coming in. So I got licensed. I got that out of the way. And my first job was for a friend, Kelly, who just wanted a very basic, like trees and grass and sky paint job in a playroom. So I did that, and then she also asked, well, what could you do in this master bedroom? And I had this idea, and we did like these designs, and that was probably, I think a lot of that was her idea. She's pretty creative, and so I just offered my talent to try to make it happen, and that's been my motto is just make yourself useful, whatever people are looking for paint wise. Just try to get good enough to provide that. But I was always a talented artist, and if people were not impressed by the work that they saw, then I would not be here today in this super plush lifestyle, my really nice car, you see. So you can see I've come real far. Yeah, I mean, whether or not I'm a successful muralist is still up for debate, but I'm paying my bills. 8 or 9 years has gone by, and it's kind of starting to snowball, and the work is steady. So this is about getting started. Definitely not about becoming a successful muralist, because I'm not sure if I'm there yet. But I had worked for that company for $11 something an hour, and the first mural jobs I did, I was like, how about $15 an hour? I did most of them for around then, and I probably only made $8 to $10 an hour by the time you calculate in all the time lost on trying to find jobs and figuring out what paperwork I needed to do. But from there, I ended up taking a job for another guy named Greg, who was already in the industry. He was doing faux finishes, specialty finishes, and I learned a lot of just the general ways that things were done in that field, and then got connections with a lot of other customers and contractors, and those play a vital role. You've got to know other paint contractors. I've never gotten any work from realty offices or things like that. People say, oh yeah, you should drop a business card, do this. Maybe so, but my highest success rate was from the paint store and from other paint contractors and from builders who subcontracted work to me. And making yourself likable to those people and making sure that your name comes up in a conversation about artwork is probably 90% of the jobs that I've had have been from either those contractors, builders, paint stores, or just from the people that I've done the work for directly telling their friends. So knowing people is vitally important. And then I took advantage of help from my friends. I'm not by any means self-made. So as I was learning and learning and learning, and believe me, a lot of learning had to take place. I had to admit that there were millions of people better than me so that I could start the process of getting better myself. And along the way, you have friends that recognize potential and offer help in some way or another. And I took advantage of all kinds of stuff. My friend Todd, he owns a software company, and he's like, yeah, I can set you up with a nice website, and he did that for me. He set me up for free with the website, and he showed up on a job site one day. I had asked him to borrow his camera that could do time-lapse video, because I had only done one time-lapse video before that, and my friend Robert had just done it by snapping a picture every few seconds with a more standard camera. But then later on, my friend Todd had a power shot, a Canon power shot, and it had a time-lapse setting, and I really liked the way that job had come out. That was the real jungly bamboo treehouse job that I did, that I have posted on my website. And then when I was doing another job, I had called and said, hey, can I borrow that camera? He showed up and he bought me a camera. It was like a $150 camera. So really, really good friend. And he's been a huge help to me. But a lot of my start was friends like Kelly letting me come into her house and paint all kinds of stuff, and friends like Todd getting me equipment, helping me get set up on the internet, and other friends that I'm probably not listing. The list is probably really long of people who actually spread the word for me. But trying to know a lot of people was very instrumental in getting started, and then the help that I got from them. So I had a website, and I'm getting ahead of myself because I had to quit working. That guy Greg that I did the faux finishing job for, that only lasted a few months, and then we ran out of work and he was unable to keep employing me. But the people that I made connections with in that process, the builders and things, that established a lot of good connections that still exist to this day, and really helped me get going. So some of the dumb things I did was walking on into an expensive house and giving a super low price. Totally scared the customer off. I mean, that's a really dumb thing to do, is walk into a really nice house, a customer that's used to paying high prices, and then only charging your labor rate. I had come from an $11 an hour job, so I could get 3 rooms done in a week, a full paint job. And so when someone asked me to paint one room with some little designs, I was like, oh, I do for like $400. And they're like, $400, okay. Yeah, they didn't call me back, because they're thinking that you're not legit. Who knows if you're legal, and who knows why you're offering such a cheap price. Maybe you don't even know what you're doing. So definitely have to charge enough. Be sensitive to the client. I mean, I know it sounds like price gouging when you charge a higher price for a higher class customer, but remember that if you charge a cheap rate that you give to your low income buddies to somebody that wouldn't be caught dead shopping at Walmart, then you're probably going to lose that job. You're not going to get it. So be sensitive, but then at the same time, it is, I think honesty counts a lot when you're pricing jobs. I had never done a bedroom for more than a few thousand. Those were the nicest ones through the course of my career. So there is also a cap on how much you can charge. I think depending on where you live, what the community is like. But I didn't run into very many people that wanted to pay that many thousands of dollars for their kid's bedroom to get decorated. It's not that they don't have the money, it's that they don't want some person coming in and taking more than they feel they should. Anyway, pricing is, I'm not the best at that. My thing is get known as broad as you can. Get known by people. You can probably do better than me on the pricing end, and I still am working on the whole making money end of the business, but I'm getting the bills paid, and it's starting to snowball. Word around Flagstaff has definitely been a success. If you're asking for a muralist here in Flagstaff, or if you Google muralist in Arizona or Flagstaff, my name will come up. And the internet presence has played a vital role in that. Being involved on Facebook, on YouTube, my website, that has been real important. I think half the reason my name comes up on Google is because of the views on the YouTube videos. And when people see your name come up on those searches, it makes you, it doesn't necessarily land you jobs, but it makes you look better in the eyes of your clients. So if you're considering hiring somebody and you type in their name on the internet and it doesn't even come up, that's one thing. You're considering hiring somebody and their name does come up high in the search, in the search results. I mean, from my perspective, that makes a person seem more legitimate. Whether it's true or not, it seems that way. And so I have highly valued the social networks on the internet, not because of the number of jobs that come in, but because of the authority that it gives to your brand. It makes you look like a more legit contractor. So it's always been just a steady progression of bigger and bigger jobs. And anytime I've made a real big jump of something that was a lot bigger than I normally would take, I got myself into a pickle. So I'm a firm believer in slow and steady progressions.